why a leaner physique is the most natural version of you. Yes, you. And the thing that made me want to make this video is I was watching a documentary about these tribesmen living in some secluded parts of the world, in rainforests and jungles, stuff like that. You know, there was tribesmen in Peru, there was another one in Thailand, there was some in Kenya, right? And these tribesmen were all living off the land. I mean, they were living as close to the caveman times as possibly can be. And I know we hear this generic ass rhetoric on a lot of these manosphere spaces talking about, yeah, when we were cavemen, we were the most alpha and shit like that, right? We've all heard that. But when it comes to physique wise, there is a lot of merit to it. There is a lot of merit because if you think about how cavemen had to live, they were obviously not eating cheeseburgers and cakes. So their fat content was extremely low, was very, very low. They were probably some of the most leanest people on earth, if you think about it, right? Because everything they ate was very low in fat. And if it was high in fat, it was still very nutrient dense. Okay. But these tribesmen were living almost the same way. And one thing they had in common was, guess what? You fucking guessed it. A lean physique. All of them had a leaner physique. Now, they didn't look like your favorite TikTok influencer with the fucking down lighting and the 8-9 pack going down and stuff. They didn't look like that. They didn't look like these guys that are enhanced. Some of them, okay, not taken away because some of them are natural, but sometimes you could tell, right? They didn't look like David Lade or your favorite Gymshark influencer, but they were very in shape. I mean, them just living off the land and climbing up trees and hunting squirrels and shit has them in better shape than almost all of all of America. But it goes to show you that that type of physique is the most natural. It is the most conducive to moving around. It is the most conducive to agility. It is the most conducive to aesthetics. I mean, these guys in the tribe, these tribesmen, you know, they be having kids like a mug. They impregnate the whole damn tribe, okay? And that's no coincidence because the tribe's women are like, dang, Juju over there, or whatever their names are, is looking good. So they have the tribesmen children that then grow up to be fucking ripped as well. And I'm gonna get into it. This is Tarik Talks. You guys could have been anywhere in the world. If you would like my one-on-one coaching, click the link in the description. So what these tribesmen told me was that this is the most natural way for all humans to be shaped. Now, I'm talking in a broad range now. Everybody is not the same and there's different circumstances. But I think we can all agree that a lower fat mass and a higher muscle mass is going to be the most optimal. Lower fat content and higher muscle mass. That is basically what lean is. And the thing with this type of body type is that it is the most sleek, it is the most proportionate, it is the most aesthetically pleasing to look at. Why is that? Because nature rewards what is natural. Nature rewards what is closest to its natural essence. See, you have guys that are like gym heads and stuff like that, gym bros, and they're chasing mass or whatever the fuck. Every time you see them, they're bulking. When they take off their shirt, you know, they might look decent. They look better than a normal dad bod person, right? They look better than the guy who just sits on a couch and stuffs his face with chicken wings. But when they take their shirt off, you're gonna see a lot of flab, you're gonna see a lot of rolls, you're gonna see a lot of love handles, a lot of fat covering up the breast area, things of that nature. Okay, okay. So even though they work out, the shit does not look natural. A lot of these gym bros are carrying a lot of excess fat. And if you take a guy that has lower body fat, right, but still has a good amount of muscle. See, here's the thing that a lot of people misconstrue when they're on a weight loss journey. What they think losing weight is doing a shit ton of cardio and totally neglecting lifting weights. That is not the case, because when you do cut down on that fat, the thing that's going to make you look aesthetic is those muscles that are going to be prominent, those muscles that are going to be popping out, because now the fat is not covering up those muscles. And once again, part of being leaner is that aesthetic. A lot of guys that are gym bros that chase that chase that mass, those mass monsters, they have a shit ton of fat covering their body up. So they're not gonna have those nice cuts. They're not gonna have that sleek look to them. You know, when they wear clothes, they have to wear double XL and XLs and tell themselves, I'm just bulking, but they're really not bulking. It's just a lot of excess fat. And the people with a leaner physique, they can move around more. They're more agile. That's why there's a whole stereotype of guys that are too blocky, that they're not agile and they can't really move like that. Now, that might not be true in all cases, because obviously we have football players, and I would not suggest that you go pick on a bouncer that has 50 pounds of excess fat but can knock you the hell out. Okay, I don't mean this by that. Just be smart with this shit, guys. Okay, what I mean is, in normal day-to-day situations, the guy with the less body fat is able to move around. He's able to cut. He's able to be more agile. He's not going to get as winded because he has a healthy amount of fat that he is carrying around. See, when you're a mass monster, when you're a dad bod, when you're just plain old out of shape, you have a lot of excess weight to carry around, and your heart does not like that. Why is that? Because it's straying away from nature. What does nature reward? What is closer to its essence. So guys that are leaner, they can move around. They're more agile. Just think of boxers. Think of these MMA fighters. Think of these kickboxers, these guys from Thailand that are like 165 pounds, but will still chop you down like a damn tree with one kick. Okay, think of these MMA fighters that are all under 200. All of this victim weight bullshit is just that was some rhetoric made by an overweight gym bro that didn't want to face the fact that his love handles are not aesthetic, and he has to make himself feel good, be like, oh yeah, I'm 230 pounds, bro, and you're victim weight. That's where that whole victim weight rhetoric came from. But if you look at these boxers, a lot of them are under 200 pounds, and they're freaking ripped and they're fast. They could last 12 rounds. They could box and last for 12 rounds. The average guy, right? You take the average Joe Schmo, average schmuck out here, couldn't last one round in a boxing match. Could not last for 3 minutes in a boxing, much less kickboxing, much less MMA. They would get winded and they would get a flying kick straight to the forehead and they would drop dead. Why is that? Because they're probably carrying around a lot of excess fat, and obviously their training isn't there. But to even be successful in that type of training, to even be successful to be shredded and ripped or leaner, okay, not necessarily, there's degrees to this. Shredded is when you can see every little fiber in your damn muscle. It's when you can see the damn veins pumping out the blood you can see the muscle filling up with the microfibers in the mitochondria and shit. That's what shredded is. I'm talking about just being lean, you know, or guys that are, like I said, shredded or ripped. One thing about them is they have to eat a certain way, okay? And that's one of the major things about being leaner, is that diet is everything. Going back to the tribesmen, using the tribesmen as an example, what is their diet? It sure the hell isn't cheeseburgers and loaded fries and Nashville mozzarella sticks from Chili's, okay? It's not a fucking bucket of fried chicken, and it is not the newest of Arby's or McDonald's burger that's out there. No, it's blueberries. It's some kind of animal, right? Maybe a wild boar, maybe a snake, even though we don't eat fucking snakes, but you get the idea. Maybe squirrel, something like that. And it's very small portion. If you think about how these tribesmen eat, or if you think about how we naturally ate, we had to eat stuff in small portions. We couldn't eat a whole bucket of loaded fries. We couldn't eat a whole bucket of fried chicken. Okay, we couldn't eat that back in the day. We had to have smaller portions. We were just naturally portioning out food because we had to share it with everybody. And once again, these people living back in the days were doing shit naturally. We're eating lean. We're being lean just out of nature. They were doing it. They didn't have to have a YouTube video for it. They didn't have to have some sort of TikTok. They didn't have to have some sort of Instagram influencer telling them this. They were just doing it. So a leaner physique is going to give you that more agile, more quicker. You're going to be able to move around more. It's going to look more sleek. When you wear sleek, it's going to look proportionate. You're going to have a very proportionate silhouette. You're not going to be all big and blocky and fucking stiff looking. You're going to be very agile. And that's, you know, when you're talking about sexual attraction, like I said, these tribesmen be getting it in. They be getting theirs. Okay. And they be having little tribes kids. Why is that? Because they live closer to nature. They don't need any fucking red pill videos telling them female nature and stuff like that, because they're in tune with nature. And there's another tribe in Kenya, right? These are some of the most leanest guys. I wish I could remember the name of them, but one of their things that they do in their culture is just jump. They jump real high, very agile, very athletic. They cut down bees from the trees and fucking eat them straight up. Like, they do a lot of things that we can't. You know, a lot of these tribesmen, they live in conditions and they partake in things that we, the common day or present day, we couldn't even survive it. We couldn't survive one day living like these type of people. We'd be like, damn, where the hell is my Wi-Fi? And where the hell is my chili cheese fries? Or where's my Starbucks? Right? But these guys had the leanest physiques and they were weathering the storm, fending off hyenas, things of that nature. So that's something that made me think, damn, their physique is a direct correlation of their survival and obviously their reproductive skills as well. Because all of these guys had kids like a mug. Some of them had kids with multiple tribes women. Okay, they had the pick of the litter. And I bet you anything, if these tribesmen were to be walking around somewhere, that we get so many quote unquote choosing signals because they just have that natural look to them, that natural physique. Okay, now obviously personality part might be a little weird because Juju over here is going to be wearing his full headgear and shit, and he's going to be looking at people weird, and he's going to be trying to stab them because he's going to try to think that they're trying to take over the tribe. But all jokes aside, you guys get what I'm saying. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace.